In the sweltering heat of a New Mexico summer, the quiet town of Roswell was about to become the center of a mystery that would echo through the ages. It was the summer of 1947, and the scars of World War II were still fresh on the minds of many Americans. But in the early hours of July 2nd, something strange happened in the skies above Roswell. Mac Brazell, a local rancher, was tending to his sheep when he noticed something peculiar, a series of lights flashing across the sky. At first, he dismissed them as nothing more than a passing aircraft, but as the lights grew closer, he realized that this was something altogether different. The lights danced and swirled in the darkness, moving in ways that defied explanation. The next morning, Brazell set out to inspect his land, curious to see if the lights had left any trace behind. But what he found would send shockwaves to the town and beyond. Scattered across the desert floor were strange metallic fragments unlike anything Brazell had ever seen. Intrigued, he collected some of the debris and brought it to the local sheriff, hoping for answers. The sheriff, in turn, contacted officials at the nearby Roswell Army airfield, who wasted no time in launching an investigation. Military personnel were dispatched to Brazell's ranch to examine the debris, but what they found only deepened the mystery. The fragments weren't like any known aircraft or weather balloon, leaving experts scratching their heads in bewilderment. Let's remember the weather balloon. That's going to come up later. Rumors began to spread like wildfire, fueled by speculation and fear. Some claimed that the debris was evidence of a crashed UFO, while others insisted it was merely a downed weather balloon. But as the days passed, one thing became clear. Whatever had happened in the skies above Roswell was no ordinary event. As the news of the Roswell incident spread, the military's response intensified. Major Jesse Marcel, an intelligence officer stationed at Roswell Army Airfield, was tasked with leading the investigation into the mysterious debris. Marcel, a seasoned veteran with a keen eye for detail, approached the task with both curiosity and caution. Accompanied by Sheriff George Wilcox, Marcel ventured out to Brazell's ranch to survey the scene for himself. What he found astonished him. Strewn across the desert floor were fragments of metallic material unlike anything he had ever encountered. Marcel carefully collected samples of the debris, noting their unusual properties and strange markings. But at the base, Marcel and his team worked tirelessly to analyze the debris, hoping to unlock its secrets. Their efforts were shrouded in secrecy with strict orders from higher-ups to keep the investigation under wraps. But despite their best efforts, Marcel and his team were unable to explain the origin of the mysterious material. Meanwhile, speculation continued to swirl outside the confines of the military base. Eyewitnesses came forward, claiming to have seen strange lights in the sky on the night of July 2nd. Conspiracy theories abounded, with some suggesting that the debris was evidence of extraterrestrial visitation. But as the weeks turned into months, the official narrative began to take shape. The military, under pressure to quell rumors and maintain control, issued a statement claiming that the debris was nothing more than a weather balloon. Marcel, bound by military protocol, reluctantly went along with the cover-up despite his own doubts about the official explanation. Yet, even as the military closed the case on Roswell, questions lingered in the minds of those who had witnessed the events firsthand. What had really happened on that fateful night? And why were the authorities so desperate to conceal the truth? Why did the stories change later on? These are all questions that remain unanswered. People are constantly looking for the truth. Years passed, but the enigma of Roswell refused to fade into obscurity. As researchers delved deeper into the incident, new details began to emerge, shedding light on what had transpired in the New Mexico desert that summer night. Eyewitnesses, once hesitant to come forward, now stepped into the spotlight, sharing their accounts of strange lights and otherworldly encounters. Among them was Sheridan Cabot, the man who accompanied Jesse Marcel to the crash site. For years, Cabot remained silent, his identity shrouded in mystery. But in the 1980s, he finally broke his silence, offering a glimpse into the events of that fateful night. According to Cabot, the debris recovered from the crash site was nothing more than a weather balloon, a claim echoed by the military's official stance on the matter. But skeptics remain unconvinced, pointing to inconsistencies in the government story and lingering questions about the nature of the debris. One of the most intriguing figures in the Roswell saga was Brigadier General Roger Ramey, the man tasked with overseeing the military's response to the incident. Despite his public dismissal of UFO sightings, Ramey's actions spoke volumes. In photographs taken during a press conference, Ramey can be seen holding what appears to be debris from the crash site, a stark contrast to the military's official stance on the matter. But perhaps the most compelling evidence of a cover-up lies in the testimony of Jesse Marcel and others involved in the investigation. Despite being pressured to toe the party line, Marcel remained steadfast in his belief that the debris was of extraterrestrial origin, a belief passed down through generations of his family. As the years passed, the Marcel family continued to grapple with the legacy of Roswell, seeking answers to questions that had haunted them for decades. While the truth may never be fully known, one thing remains clear for this whole story. The events of that summer night in 1947 will continue to capture the imagination of people around the world, sparking debate and speculation to this very day. But what next? In the decades following the Roswell incident, interest in the case has only grown stronger. With each passing year, new revelations and insights have emerged, keeping the mystery alive in public consciousness. One of the central figures in the Roswell narrative was Senator Barry Goldwater, who became intrigued by the case and sought access to classified information regarding the incident. Goldwater's inquiries were met with a resistance from government officials who refused to grant him access to the so-called Blue Room, where the alleged debris from the crash site was said to be stored. Despite the government's efforts to downplay the significance of Roswell, Goldwater remained determined to uncover the truth. His close relationship with Colonel Blanchard, one of the key players in the Roswell saga, fueled his desire to get to the bottom of the mystery. Meanwhile, the Marcel family continued their quest for answers, combing through old documents and personal journals in search of clues. Their efforts eventually led them to the discovery of Jesse Marcel Sr.'s lost journals, which shed new light on his involvement in the investigation and hinted at the existence of hidden wreckage from the crash. But perhaps the most compelling evidence of all came from eyewitness testimony, including that of Jesse Marcel Jr. and others who had first-hand experience with the debris recovered from the crash site. Despite facing pressure to remain silent, these individuals bravely spoke out, sharing their accounts of what they had seen and handled. In the annals of ufology, few incidents have captured the imagination quite like the events that transpired in Roswell. What began as a routine investigation into reports of a crashed flying saucer soon morphed into one of the most enduring mysteries of the modern era. At least that's the government's take, right? As researchers delved deeper into the Roswell story, a wealth of specific facts began to emerge, painting a clearer picture of the incident. All right, let's get deeper into the eyewitnesses, all right? Because that's the testimony that we want to hear. People who have actually seen it. One of the modern cases that we're hearing about today are the things discussed by David Grush, right? I've already done a video on that, and if you'd like to check it out, go ahead and see it here on this channel. But it's compelling, it's fascinating, but he keeps giving us secondhand information. And I believe that he's doing that for a reason. I don't think that it's for subterfuge. I think that it's because that's what he has to do for now. I hope, anyway. But here we have eyewitness testimony from people who were actually there. And what's interesting is how these narratives will shift. Let's take a look. One such witness was shared in Cabot, the man earlier who we talked about who accompanied Jesse Marcel to the crash site. For years, Cabot remained a shadowy figure, known only by his nickname Cav. It wasn't until the 1980s that his true identity was revealed, shedding new light on his role in the Roswell affair. Cabot's testimony, though initially cryptic, gradually began to paint a more complete picture of what transpired that fateful day. While he initially denied being present at the crash site, further inquiries prompted him to open up about his experiences. In a signed affidavit in 1994, Cabot acknowledged his presence at the scene, but maintained that what he saw was nothing more than a weather balloon. But Cabot was not the only one with knowledge of the incident. Remember Brigadier General Roger Ramey, who headed the 8th Army Division in Fort Worth, Texas? Well, he also played a significant role in shaping the narrative as well. In the days following the incident, Ramey publicly dismissed reports of a UFO crash, attributing them to misidentifications and hysteria. Don't forget this picture. So, you have what he said, but behind closed doors, Ramey's actions told a different story. The question of why Roswell was covered up has sparked endless speculation over the years. Some believe it was an attempt by the government to conceal advanced technology recovered from the crash site, while others argue it was to avoid the panic that would inevitably accompany confirmation of extraterrestrial life. But perhaps the truth is more complex than we realize. Perhaps, as some have suggested, the government's reluctance to acknowledge the reality of Roswell stems from a deeper fear of the unknown, a fear that continues to shape our understanding of the universe to this day. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Jesse Jr. Growing up in the shadow of Roswell, Jesse Jr. was keenly aware of the significance of his father's involvement in the case. Though his father seldom spoke of the incident, Jesse Jr. sensed that there was more to the story than met the eye. It wasn't until later in life that he began to piece together the fragments of his father's experiences, slowly unraveling the mystery that had haunted their family for decades. As Jesse Jr. delved deeper into his father's past, he discovered that the Marcel family's connection to Roswell ran far deeper than he had ever imagined. His father had been entrusted with pieces of debris recovered from the crash site, artifacts that defied conventional explanation and hinted at a reality beyond our very own. But Jesse Jr.'s quest for answers was not without its challenges. Despite his best efforts, he found himself stonewalled at every turn, thwarted by government secrecy and institutional obfuscation. It seemed as though the truth at Roswell would forever remain out of reach. Yet Jesse Jr. refused to be deterred. With dogged determination, he continued to press forward, driven by a desire to uncover the truth and honor his father's memory. Along the way, he encountered others who shared his quest, forming a tight-knit community of researchers and enthusiasts united in their pursuit of the truth. Together, they sifted through mountains of documents and testimony, piecing together a narrative that challenged the official government account of the Roswell incident. Through their efforts, they uncovered a wealth of evidence suggesting that something extraordinary had indeed occurred in the New Mexico desert all those years ago. But as they delved deeper into the mystery, they also encountered that resistance over and over again. Government officials and skeptics alike dismissed their findings as fanciful nonsense, attributing the Roswell incident to a combination of misidentification and mass hysteria. We keep seeing that come back around as well, just like that Brigadier General. But for Jesse Jr. and his fellow truth seekers, the evidence spoke for itself. As Jesse Jr. delved deeper into his investigation, he found himself drawn to the stories of other key figures involved in the Roswell incident. Some of the key figures we've already talked about. One such figure was Sheridan Cabot. The man who accompanied his father, Major Marcel, in the crash site in the New Mexico desert. Cabot's role in the events continued to be shrouded in mystery. They were shrouded in mystery then, they're shrouded in mystery now. But Jesse Jr. was able to dig a little bit more. Remember, it wasn't until the 1980s that Cabot's name finally emerged, revealing him to be a member of the Counterintelligence Corps stationed at Roswell Army Airfield. Did you hear that? Counterintelligence. We didn't know his name. He was just Cav before. Now we know his name. And of course, he's given us some testimony, and some of that has changed. He wasn't there. Now he's there. For Jesse Jr., Cabot's testimony held the key to unlocking the truth of what had happened at Roswell. Though initially reluctant to speak about his experiences, Cabot eventually came forward with his version of events, claiming that he had never been present at the crash site and the debris recovered was simply a weather balloon. That's what he said, at first. But Jesse Jr. remained skeptical of Cabot's account, sensing that there was more to the story than met the eye. He knew that Cabot, as a member of the Counterintelligence Corps, had been trained to deceive, a fact that cast doubt on the veracity of his testimony. You can't be a hired liar and then get upset when other people are calling you a liar. As Jesse Jr. continued his investigation, he uncovered evidence suggesting that Cabot's involvement in the Roswell incident went far deeper than he had previously admitted. Eyewitness accounts and government documents indicated that Cabot had actually played a central role in the recovery and handling of the debris, contradicting his claims of non-involvement. But despite mounting evidence to the contrary, Cabot refused to budge from his official story, maintaining that the Roswell incident was nothing more than a case of mistaken identity. For Jesse Jr., it was a frustrating setback, one that only strengthened his resolve to uncover the truth. As he delved deeper into Cabot's background, Jesse Jr. uncovered a tangled web of deception and intrigue, revealing a man torn between loyalty to his country and a desire to protect his own reputation. It was a story that spoke to the complexities of human nature and the moral ambiguities of life in the military. But Jesse Jr. was on a mission. He cared about his father's legacy. He cared about getting to the truth. And so, armed with determination and a relentless pursuit of the truth, Jesse Jr. continued his quest to uncover the secrets of Roswell, knowing that the answers he sought were out there, just waiting to be discovered. As Jesse Jr. delved deeper into the mystery surrounding the events, he found himself confronted with a daunting truth. The full extent of what had happened in the New Mexico desert in 1947 may never be known. Despite his tireless efforts to uncover the truth, Jesse Jr. encountered numerous roadblocks and dead ends along the way. Government secrecy, conflicting accounts, and the passage of time all conspired to obscure the facts surrounding the Roswell incident, leaving him with more questions than answers. But amidst the uncertainty and frustration, Jesse Jr. found solace in the knowledge that he had done everything in his power to honor the memory of his family and preserve the legacy of those who had come before him. Though the truth at Roswell remained elusive, he took comfort in the belief that his efforts had helped to shine a light on a pivotal moment in history and keep the memory of the event alive for future generations. As he reflected on his journey, Jesse Jr. realized that the true significance of Roswell lay not in the details of what had happened on that fateful day, but in the enduring impact it had had on the lives of those who had been touched by it. For him and his family, the Roswell incident was more than just a historical footnote. It was a defining moment that had shaped their lives in ways they could have never imagined. And so, with a sense of closure and acceptance, Jesse Jr. bid farewell to his quest for the truth, knowing that some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved. But in the end, he took comfort in the knowledge that the legacy of Roswell would live on, a testament to the enduring power of curiosity, perseverance, and the human spirit. Now, what do I think? I think, yes, something indeed happened in Roswell in 1947. I don't know if it was aliens. I don't know if it's some sort of cover-up where our government invented some sort of crazy technology that they are keeping secret from the rest of the public. And there's this conspiracy of aliens, but they're saying that it's not aliens, but they want to keep us talking about aliens to cover up what's really there. I don't know. I would say I don't care, but I do care. And you care too, or else you wouldn't be watching this video. I want to know the truth, especially if there's aliens out there. Why would we want to know that? That's very interesting. That changes a lot of people's perspective on life. Me, I don't think it changes my perspective much. But it might you. To me, I want to keep on the way that I keep on, no matter what I discover. I just want to know the truth. And I hope you enjoy this search for truth alongside me. Let's continue to do it together, shall we? If you like this sort of video, be sure to watch the next one. We have lots of great content here talking about modern and classic conspiracies. We'll see you next time.